Hey everyone, it's Stephen Wagner from the Tech Journal at www.stephenwagner.com. Welcome to episode 3.1 of my vlog. If you watched the last one that I recorded on the weekend, I mentioned that I was going to be doing a sub-episode dedicated to VMware Horizon 8, version 2106. Now, a lot of you know that one of my primary focuses the last couple of years has been VDI, Virtual Desktop Infrastructure, and I do a lot of work with VMware Horizon. A lot of the consulting work that I've been doing lately as well is for VMware Horizon. Now, VMware Horizon 8 version 2106 was released a couple months ago. I really wanted to get a vlog episode done within the week of the release. However, things got a little bit out of hand, but there's a couple big feature changes in this release that I wanted to bring to attention. Some of my favorite changes and enhancements are, for example, audio recording support with RTAV can now be cranked up to 48 kilohertz. And I think it defaults to 16 kilohertz. Now, a lot of you will remember that on previous deployments, I think the max you could go was about 8 kilohertz, and that posed a problem for third-party VoIP applications, conferencing applications. This is actually one of the main reasons why Skype for Business optimization and Microsoft Teams optimization was created, was for successful audio handling and offloading, as well as video handling and offloading. So now this is big for me because I actually have a healthcare customer that still uses Skype for Business, and they actually use a third-party application to deal with call routing and functionality. And unfortunately, in their environment, when we turn on Skype for Business optimization, it actually breaks the call routing software. So with Horizon 8 2106 being released, it is the perfect timing because since they have an internal Skype for Business server, we can simply crank that audio quality on the recording up to 48 kilohertz. And it takes care of the shoddy audio quality. Now, another thing too that came out with this release is in previous versions, I think you could change the audio quality from 8 to 16 kilohertz. However, every time a user logged off and logged back in, there was absolutely no persistence on that setting. So you actually had to go in and change that setting or teach the users how to do it. Now, with the new ADMX GPO templates, you can actually not only configure the audio quality, so you can set it to 48 kilohertz, but you can also make sure that it's persistence across logins, which is pretty cool. Another big thing that came out too was with the Linux client. As of 2106, the VMware Horizon Linux client now actually supports Microsoft Teams optimization. This is actually a really big deal because there's a lot of companies out there that purchase zero clients. And zero clients are typically based off of embedded Linux, and so they use the VMware Horizon Linux client. Now, in my own testing, I've done some performance testing, and typically on zero clients, you'll actually see better quality and performance using a zero client versus a thin client, whereas a thin client actually usually runs Windows 10 embedded or a proprietary operating system. Now, traditionally in the past, you needed to have a Windows 10 or a Windows 10 thin client or a Windows 10 based device in order to take advantage of that Microsoft Teams optimization. However, this is all changed. Now with VMware integrating Microsoft Teams optimization into the VMware Horizon Linux client, this completely changes the game. For example, within a few weeks, I reached out to Tenzig, and they actually released a custom firmware upgrade that enabled Microsoft Teams optimization on their NOS Zero clients. And with my company being a Tenzig partner, I, of course, loaded this up, did some testing, and it runs frickin' smooth. So now it's a no-brainer whether or not you want to use thin clients or zero clients. So if you need something that you can manage, you can still deploy those Windows 10 thin clients. But the zero clients are really getting powerful, and their functionality is getting on point with their thin clients. So that's really nice to see. Now, one other big thing that came out with this specific release is that when I was reading through the release notes, there was actually a couple mentions about the Raspberry Pi client. Now, traditionally in the past, with older versions of VMware Horizon, I think it was many years ago that there was actually an ARM-based client that you could load onto a Raspberry Pi. And then there was a little bit of time where you actually had to use a third-party solution to actually be able to run the VMware Horizon client on a Raspberry Pi. I have some notes here. I think it was a company called StrataDesk, and they had a no-touch desktop, and then there was also Thin Links. I'll put the links in the description. But essentially what happened is that you had to use these third-party solutions to get the VMware Horizon client loaded onto a Raspberry Pi. I also think that there were some version discrepancies where the software was so old and dated that while it worked, it wasn't something that you could use in production, and it was lacking some features. So with me seeing this inside of the release notes, I decided to go ahead and you log on to the VMware download portal and there's no mention of a Raspberry Pi client download inside of there. So I went ahead and downloaded the Linux client, and if you extract the tarball, if you go digging through the folder structure, there actually is an ARM-based VMware Horizon client. So I didn't get a chance to play with it or test it, but still it's pretty cool nonetheless, especially with the Raspberry Pi 4s coming out. You get a small case, you get it set up, and why not? Right? It's a very affordable zero client that you can use for your VMware Horizon deployments. I can see there being some management issues with larger environments, but if it's for your home lab or for a small business, a small deployment, why not? So, and just some other enhancements with Horizon 8 2106 is there was a big UI change on the client. I like the dark mode. It's pretty convenient. However, it is a little bit blocky, so I'm not too sure. I like change, but it's still wearing on me, so I'm getting used to it. They brought SysPrep capabilities into the instant clones now. Traditionally with instant clones, you had to use clone prep. In those situations, all the instant clones would actually have the same SID. Now, depending on if you're using special line of business applications, this could cause some issues. However, with 2106, they finally came out with SysPrep support. So now you can have instant clones with no parents, but just keep in mind that there is quite a bit more provisioning time involved because it's doing a SysPrep instead of a clone prep. They've also added the ability to have 6 4K displays in your VMware Horizon environment. That is absolutely insane. I don't know what type of video card you'd need for that. The most I've done in my own environment is 3 displays, and I've got an AMD S7150X2 setup on a very old HPE DL360p Gen 8. But maybe one day, if the budget permits, I wouldn't mind getting my hand on a very expensive NVIDIA card and getting it set up. So VMware, if you're listening, I would love to demo that. Now, another big thing too that came out with this release is that traditionally in the past, every time you do a VMware Tools upgrade inside of a VDI virtual machine, traditionally you had to reinstall, when you do the VMware Tools upgrade, you actually had to reinstall the VMware Horizon Agent. I've seen a lot of companies skip this step, and they've had a lot of issues when they skip this step. However, now as of 2106 and later, you no longer have to reinstall the Horizon Agent, which isn't too bad. One other mentionable thing that I wanted to bring up too is the OSOT tool, the VMware OSOT tool for optimizing VDI VMs. The versioning on that specific VMware Fling now matches and is on par with VMware Horizon. So the latest version, you've got VMware Horizon 2106, and now you have the VMware OSOT tool version 2106. In the OSOT tool 2106, they've officially removed custom templates. And I believe that they're doing this because they want to implement and bring the product, or bring the VMware Fling into the actual VMware Horizon product suite. Make it available, eventually make it available as a download. And in order to do that, they can't have any third-party custom templates or modules. Everything, if they were to do that, it would have to be fully supported by VMware, so you can understand why they can't have custom templates. This doesn't stop you from creating your own. I'm pretty sure you can probably download custom templates and import them, but I'm pretty sure that they just want to keep it clean. And finally, one last thing worth mentioning is the VMware instant or the VMware base image creation guide has been updated. So there's 2 versions of this guide. One is to manually create a VMware VDI image. It goes through all the steps from creating the VM on VMware ESXi to installing VMware Tools, hardware configuration, the VM settings, installing the agents, installing DEM, user accounts, audit mode, the whole deal. It walks you through the entire process. So that's been updated. Quite a few things have changed. So make sure that you check that document out. I'm going to be putting a link in the description on the YouTube video. Actually, there's a new guide for automated deployments. Now, I have not had a chance to test it out yet. However, I guess you can use Microsoft's, I think it's called MST platform to essentially streamline and automate the entire process of deploying instant clones and VDI VMs. Using this platform, it'll use the installation services to create a VM, to install Microsoft Windows to it. It'll use an automated template to do all the custom configuration. You can configure it to install all the applications you need, make any settings to the VDI VM, and it streamlines the entire process. So anytime a new version comes out, let's say that you're running Windows 10 with the semi-annual channel. Whenever a new version comes out, instead of doing it the dirty way by going into the golden image and upgrading it, which is technically against best practice, technically every time there's a big major version change, you're actually supposed to create a whole new base and golden image for it. What you can do is by using this automated process, technically you could just throw in the ISO, click a button, and it would install Windows, install the applications, go through the entire process, install VMware Tools, install the VMware Horizon Agent, and essentially spit out a VMware Horizon instant clone image that all you have to do is just bring into the desktop pool. That's pretty cool. Now, I haven't read this document into too much detail. It's a longer one. And there's some concepts that I'm not too familiar with, so I don't know if I'm going to be trying it anytime soon. I've got a lot of stuff to do, both with business and for the blog and for the vlog. But it's definitely something that I'm looking forward to. But yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I just wanted to do this episode, dedicate 3.1 to VMware Horizon 2106. It's new. I've been running it in my home lab for some time. I've had no issues with it. It's running slick. It's performing great. And like I mentioned, I got that healthcare customer that we've got it actually as of last week. We did the upgrade and we were able to push out a whole bunch of production images to their user workforce. So definitely check it out. Anyways, I appreciate you tuning in today. I see I've got one live viewer. I can't see if it's on Twitch or YouTube. I appreciate you watching the live stream. As I mentioned in episode 3, I'm going to try to keep the vlog going live. None of it's scripted, so I just figured it's a better touch if I just do it live anyways. And I got to get used to it. So, but thanks for checking in. Again, Stephen Wagner, Tech Journal. Website is www.stephenwagner.com. Make sure you check it out. I've got a whole bunch of posts on servers, storage, virtualization, VDI, technology, the whole deal. On YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. And yeah, if you leave a comment, I'll try to get back to you. So I'm going to give this a couple more seconds before I sign off, just because I know that YouTube likes to cut off the last 5 seconds on a live stream. So I hope you all have a great day.